Alright, you're watching and listening to the Bidin Film Club, and I'm assuming Hamzah Nazli.
I'm Charlie Imstan.
As usual, every year every week we watch a local film. We review it. It's going to be the first one for 2019.
Yay! It's not a film!
It is a film.
It's not. It's a documentary film. Something like that.
People who don't consider documentaries as films.
So it's an original documentary film.
Yes. Called Bangkit.
By
Days
iFlix.
that Changed the Nation. It's an iFlix original.
And Zan's in it, so I can't wait to review it and trash talk.
Yes.
So
we're gonna go and watch the media screening, and soon it will be available on iFlix for everybody to watch.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
We watched
Bangkit.
the 11 days that changed the country, the nation, or something.
11 days that changed the nation.
Yep. It's a documentary film
It stars
about the.
Zan.
It stars me
So much.
so much.
For whatever reason.
I can give you the lowdown of why lah later on. Okay, so tell them. Okay, tell our loyal viewers what the documentary is about.
It's about the 11 days that changed the nation.
Which 11 days?
The 11 days before May 9th.
Is May 9 considered one of those 11 days?
Yes.
Really?
Or is it the 11th day?
On the 11th day of May 9th,
it's a
true love
documentary
gave to me.
about the 11 days before the May 9th election that we all know, or some of us, most of us know, changed the nation because we elected in a new government.
The rest don't know. You didn't know?
In case you didn't know, we changed the government, yay! It is, I think, the second May 9th thing we've seen since May 9th.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite one. Mostly
Out of the two.
Yeah, out of the two.
Because
It's
Rise
not hard to
because
pick
Rise
my
Ini
favorite
Kalilau
one.
was
Okay.
terrible.
Yeah, I'll tell you very
Yeah.
honestly, I was quite tired already of all the May 9th pandering. It might be the second thing that we've seen, but on social media there has been so many things since May 9th. All these mini docus and web docus and all these kind
I haven't
of
seen
things
any.
that are sort of like basically new Malaysia propaganda lah. Not surprising considering they're coming from news agencies that I guess don't know how to do anything other than pander lah. So since they're done pandering to the old government, they're now pandering to the new government. Fine. So when they invited us to go and watch a documentary that was going to be about May 9th, I was already quite tired. I'm quite apolitical, and I really didn't need to see another documentary about May 9th. But I was very pleasantly surprised because this documentary was very apolitical also. It was very human-centric, a lot about the people on the ground, which is why it heavily features Zan. He's the man on the ground, you know. And it did not so much talk about the political parties and zoom in so much on the political figures. It neither demonized one side over the other or anything like that, but it was really showing the people's efforts to working towards the day of the election, which I remember fondly, and I was very proud of how Malaysians came together to sort of make the change, you know. And that was what this whole documentary was about. So,
It's found footage. We also got to clear that the treatment of the documentary is that you wanted to take visuals, either photographs or videos that normal citizens
from the masses
that actually
so they're source they're all source footage.
They're all source footage. UGC, that's what they call it, user generated content. Except for the ones that they got from journalists like me, Kamlesh. Actually only two journalists.
And still also source content I would say. I don't know. So I thought that it was a very good documentary. It's definitely very feel good, but not in a propaganda type way. It's feel good because you remember that everybody came together to do this one thing, and that's what makes you feel good. Yeah, so I liked it. You have things to say about it.
I liked the documentary. It was a good documentary. It was a good TV documentary. Again, I think got to be transparent, right? Number one, I'm heavily featured in the documentary. Number two, the production company that did it, those fellas are like friends. I've done documentaries with them before. Like last year, they did a documentary about me and the Malaysian identity for Channel News Asia. They're good people. They do really good work, right? And so let it be out there that we know them lah. Justin, Lam, and Jean, and all that, right?
We also like the people at iFlix.
Yep, they're very nice people and all that. Yeah.
But this is not why we say that we like this.
No.
Because
Yep.
there are also things that...
Yeah. It's very good. It's a good documentary. It's very tight. It tells a very good story. There are certain weak points here and there. But overall, it's a good story. It tells the story of the people. Like what you mentioned just now, it doesn't pander to any political party. Although it's not, my personal opinion is that it's not apolitical. It's very political from the perspective of society. It's socio-political, and we talk about democracy a lot because it's power of the people, right? And if you want to talk about propaganda and sites, it doesn't take Barisan Nasional side, it doesn't take Pakatan Harapan side, and then during the press conference there was the people talking about the past side also. It takes the people's side, and that's a side too, right?
That is true.
It's a side too, and yeah, I thought it was good. I think everybody should watch it. Okay, how do we go on to the critiques? Do you have any critiques of the documentary, about the documentary?
Yes.
Okay.
The ending was a bit abrupt. It had really good build, I felt. The build, because it was 11 days, right? So it's like a countdown, so 11 all the way to May 9th. The build up was great. There was a lot of build up. There is a reason to why I think Zan is heavily featured. I feel like the characters or the subjects that they portray in the...
It's hard, right? You have to say this, right? Because I'm in it, so...
In the documentary, have very linear narratives. So they're all very focused to one particular narrative within the 11 days. Whereas people like Kamlesh, people like Zan, their perspective was more overall, more wholesome, because they were sort of watching it from a... not to say an outsider point of view, but a overall
looking at
point
everything.
of view,
Looking at everything.
Where
Since
some of the subjects that were interviewed had very
focused.
specific focuses.
Like for example, the Pascha, the observer.
The Pascha guy.
He talked about
lawyer,
observing.
there were two lawyers.
Liu Chin Tong's lawyer.
Liu Chin Tong's lawyer. Tian Chua's lawyer. Or a lawyer that was in Tian Chua's camp.
So they were very specific in what they had to say lah.
So it's hard to make a wholesome documentary with only two wholesome perspectives, but it's also good to have these kind of specific first-hand narratives lah, because that's what you want to feature, right? Like a real on-the-ground people who were really, really there kind of thing. So they achieved that. The build-up was great, but then it got to the day of the election and it got to the day after the election, and it was just kind of glossed over in like 10 minutes. Yeah, something like that. And then the ending was really, really abrupt. It was literally a scene of a person talking, one line, and then it cut straight to credits. So it didn't feel very conclusive or very resolute for me, but it also didn't have that feeling of like a open ending where you're left to like contemplate the state of the nation or anything like that. It just felt unfinished lah, a little bit to me. So that was a bit anticlimactic. It was doing really well up to that point for me. I think that was my only critique.
To pick up from where you said, you were talking about how it glossed over the ending, right? Like the election day and then the results and all that, right? I felt that the documentary was a little bit short, and that everything in the documentary itself was glossed over, because it was 11 days, right? And the 11 days countdown was very fast. A lot of things happened in between those days. But I guess because the treatment of the documentary is also
short.
Number one is short, the duration is short, but it's also because it's user generated, and if there were no user generated content, you can't tell those stories, right? so I also don't want to be caught
And
in
they
the
don't
trap
want to
of...
be speculative also, you know, because they
Cannot.
don't want to, they
You-
don't want to
you cannot
say,
be
okay, this
speculative.
happened, but then they have no
We have no
user
push.
generated to prove it. And you can't exactly like put
That's-
up, how many Facebook screenshots could you possibly put
And if
up,
you-
or Twitter screenshots even?
And if you can't verify those screenshots, so it's
very
defamation.
hard.
It's
So
actually illegal.
We understand why it was minorly glossed over.
I guess so. But then it's also a TV documentary. It wasn't very cinematic in a way, as in like a feature film kind of documentary, because it was very typical TV format. It was a lot of talking heads. There was not a lot of character development, which I would have probably liked a little bit more. Like if you want to do user-generated content, actually explore the characters of this user who generated the content.
Yeah.
You
But
know what I
then
mean?
I guess the direction of the documentary would be different, you see, because then they would have to follow, like, say, 3 specific people,
Yeah.
and then shoot a lot of like real-time scenes of them
Yeah.
like going to their houses and then do like flashbacks or whatever.
Maybe
with the-
that would have made a better
I guess
documentary.
but that would be a different kind of documentary lah. So I think that if this was the direction they wanted to take, they did pretty well.
Yeah, and I also don't want to be caught in the trap where a lot of people, when they critique films and critique content, they say, oh, this content didn't serve this purpose, didn't serve that purpose. Because as content creators ourselves, and even audience lah, you have to understand that you cannot create one film to address
Everything.
the entire world. If you want to do that, you make a Hollywood movie, right?
Which also
like,
doesn't
like,
really do
like
it.
Michael Bay's Transformers.
Which really also doesn't
Right?
do it.
Yeah, which
Sure.
actually even then only serves like a majority, but not everybody.
Yeah, misogynistic prick.
Yeah, so it's okay. It's a good documentary. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah.
because I also know the filmmakers themselves. I want to be a little bit critical, right?
Sorry, Justin.
Yeah, we want to be a little bit critical. You guys are great, right? But I think it's only fair that we be critical with people we feel that actually have the skills to actually do a really good job.
Well, if
Right?
it's iFlix's first original documentary, and much
And
like
second original
so
production
much
after
like
KL Gangster Underworld.
Gangster,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good, solid first effort, and not
very.
in a way where it's like, oh, good effort, but you need to like try again to do better. It's a good effort. It's a good documentary, and they definitely can do better. So I think that they will, whatever they expand to, it will definitely be. It will be good to watch lah. It's exciting to watch. iFlix is definitely a platform to watch for local Malaysian content. I think the quality that they've been churning out has struck a nice balance between mass, but also, you know, has good production quality and narrative. So they've managed to hit that sweet spot where it's got good production quality, it's art, and it's got a good story and everything, but it's also enough to cater to the mass.
Yep.
So it'll be exciting to see what else they come up with, documentary or otherwise.
I like the approach they take. Mark Francis from iFlix, from iFlix said that the approach they take is it's a good story. It doesn't matter if it's a documentary or not a documentary. If there is a compelling story, they tell that story.
Yeah.
And I think any content production platform, that's what you want.
A good story.
Even if they say that, oh, okay, we're not a news channel and we don't want to tell hard news and all that, I believe that even for news, hard news, you need to have a good story. And if you don't have a good story, you're boring news anyway. You know what I mean? So I think it's a really great approach. They took their time producing this film. It was delayed.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have been launched way earlier, but it didn't because they wanted to take their time. And I think it showed lah.
Yeah.
Because if they had rushed through it, it wouldn't have been as good as this lah.
Yeah.
Right? To say that it's the best documentary ever, I can't say that.
It is a good start to the year though.
Yeah, but it's a
local
good
content.
start of the year for local content. It's a good, solid documentary.
Yeah.
Solid offering by iFlix. It's going to be available for free.
It is available now. By the time this is out,
Yeah.
it would have been out for 24 hours already.
Because the launch is 9th.
Please
the 9th
watch
of
it
January.
on iFlix.
Yeah, watch it on iFlix. It's just like their last original production, KL Gangster Underworld. It's offered for free. You don't need to have a subscription to watch
Yes.
it. Right? And I think that's really great for local content.
Yeah.
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 And I have excellent and beautiful silky flowing hair in the documentary. Thanks to the cameraman who shot it. Chino, you made me look good. Because if it was lamb, you'd probably shot the chair rather than my face. I'm kidding.
That is of my comments.
Yeah.
Yep. So watch it on iFlix.
Watch it. Please watch
It's
it.
great. You will bring up some feels.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you agree with what the current political situation is right now, or you don't agree, or whatever.
It really isn't.
It's supposed to. The spirit is to show that, hey, it's people power.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that sentiment really shone true.
Yeah.
Like,
Great. So if you watched it and you have any comments you want to add, you want to tell us, you want to question us, any other suggestions for future episodes, or whatever, you want to wish us Happy New Year, please leave your comment below. Subscribe to our channel or follow us on all our social media platforms at FatBidin, or go to fatbidin.com to get everything. You've been watching and listening to the Fat Bidin Film Club. I'm assuming I'm Zanazli.
and I am Shell Ibusawan.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Hey, if you want to learn how to become an independent filmmaker or a filmmaker in general, I've got a book which I wrote with a buddy of mine. It's called Zan Azli and Wan Chun Hong's Guide to Indie Filmmaking. You can actually buy it off of here. I'm going to put the link down here at my website, fatbidin.com. It's only a couple of ringgit, and it's really good because it has many different chapters, the process of filmmaking, and each chapter I interview a Malaysian filmmaker who gives advice and tips of from their experience. So yeah, yay, link is down here. Yay.